The third area, which I think will have a strong growth in the future 5 years to 10 years, it is called the literati paintings and objects. What means literati paintings and objects? It means, those art have a contemporary feeling of like Chinese scholar. And, in the Qing dynasty and Song dynasty, the scholars, they like to, collecting some of the Chinese scholars' rock, and they like to collect, some of the scholars' objects. So this work we show here from Tai Xiangzhou, he is also one of the artists I work with. His work is recently, sold in Sotheby's auction. The 4-piece was sold around 400,000 Hong Kong dollar. But actually, around 3 years before, you can buy the total 4-piece around 240,000 Hong Kong dollars. So it is almost doubled. Why I think this area will have a strong growth is that, Sotheby's recently they set up this new department called Literati Paintings and Objects. And they just set up this department last year. And they also set up a special sale just dedicated to this department. So I believe they will have a big promotion in this area. And Tai Xiangzhou's work happened to have this spirit and also, very fit into this market which they want to promote. Actually, when Tai Xiangzhou was showing in Sotheby's, New York, his piece is on the cover piece. And another reason I believe this area will have a strong growth is that, maybe all of you know that the Chinese, oil paintings is already getting very high. So the most expensive, painters, for example, Zheng Fanzhi, his work is like sell more than 100 million Hong Kong dollar. But the most expensive, contemporary ink artist, his work is only around 1 million US, maybe around 8 million Hong Kong dollar. So go back, we talk about, you should look at, you can compare the different, area and also buy the best of this artist or the best of this, category. So I think compared with the Chinese oil painting market, the Chinese contemporary ink market is still pretty much in the low part and have a great potential to grow. Now I will talk more about maybe art as an investment. I believe you will have a more interest about it. So I'll give you some examples. There is a very famous collection called Gans collection. It is a couple called Gans from New York, and they are all normal people, like work in office, and they are not like billionaires. And they totally spend around 2 million US on their artworks from 1941. And their whole collection was sold for more than 171 million US in Christie's in 1997. So they built their collection within 46 years. And their investment return is around 12% a year. Maybe you think it is, if you buy a stock that time, you maybe also can get a similar return. But, the difference is that, the Gans couples, they really love art. So if you, visit their home, their home is like almost like a museum, they put art all over their work. Actually when Christie's was doing that sale, they even rent a villa to display all the artwork in a living feeling. And also there are some experts, they did research. Because for buying the artwork, you can also gain some of the psychological enjoyment. So if we include in the psychological enjoyment, normally the percent is around 2% a year. So if you add the 2%, so the total investment return is around 14% a year. So that is a little bit more than the stock market.
But excuse me, when you talk about return, then I would be interested about the $2 million US. Is that inflation adjusted? And also that when you talk about the 12%, is that excluding the commissions going to be charged by the auctioneers?
Yeah, I mean because talking about the investment return, it is compared with the stock market, so I didn't include the inflations. And the 171 million, it is the total sale, so it is including the premium. But actually, all their artworks was selling at a very high price. One of their Picasso painting they bought at 7,000 US and was sold for 45 billion US. So when the price goes very high, the premium which auction house charge goes little. So the premium of auction houses start with 25% when it is lower than 1 million. But if you go like 40 million US, maybe the premium at that time I think is less than 3% or less than 5%. So at that time the premium should be not that much, because I think in the 1970s that if you go certain high price, you can even negotiate a very low premium with the auction house. So another example is that the Rockefeller couples, they also bought a Picasso painting for 30,000 US in 1950s, and that signature painting was sold for more than 104 million US in 2004. I think the investment return is also higher than 12%. So here are some of the tips on investment in art. Like what I said before, you always need to buy the best of this artist or the best of this category. Maybe some of you will say, the best of everyone will be very expensive. But actually, for example, the Lucy's work, I think, she is actually one of the good top artists top Chinese artists who are in their 30s. And her work you saw here actually is all less than 50,000 Hong Kong dollar. And some of her work is around maybe 1,000 US. And second, hold it in a long term. If you can hold it, to build a collection like the Gans couples, for 30, 40 years, of course you will get a very good return. But normally, I think if you only want short, you don't want to hold that long, I would normally recommend around 3 to 5 years. Because around 3 to 5 years, normally there is already a good return for some of the category. It could be around 15% a year. So third, in the Western world, all the collectors normally work with art advisors, because the art advisors, they will have some inside information about the art market, and they know like who is buying what kind of art, and they know what the art fund is investing in what kind of category. So in the Western field, all the collectors normally they will have their personal art advisor. But it is a slightly new thing in Hong Kong, also in China. But if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me. I will give some free advice as well. Yeah.
I have a question. Is there any special consideration as to how to preserve those arts, like paintings or photos? Because if you buy, say, a collection, even if it costs not much, but given the housing price in Hong Kong, it's more costly to really house those arts. I mean, is there any place, say, we can take care of those paintings for you, or yeah?
Yeah, there are several art storage places in Hong Kong, and they only charge it by the volume, and the price is around 1,000 Hong Kong dollar to start with. So if you just put a few paintings, for example, Chinese paintings with the, you can roll it, so it doesn't take a lot of space. So maybe you only need to spend, 1,000 Hong Kong dollar a month to install inside art storage. 1,000. Yeah, 1,000 Hong Kong dollar a month.
Storage.
Yeah, but only if it is really dedicated, because the Chinese ink on paper art doesn't really need a special condition. So for my art, I just put at home. I roll it and I put in my home, and only for example like wine and some of the lacquer antiques and some of the oil paintings, they may need like special condition for certain temperature. So for those things, maybe I recommend to put, if it's really valuable, I recommend to put in a storage. But if it's just ink on paper works, or all paintings, so I think you can just put in your home. Yeah.
So in the galleries, are those paintings owned by the gallery or owned by individual owners?
You mean how the gallery operates?
I mean, if you go to art galleries, I guess those paintings are for sale, right?
Yeah.
So that painting is owned by another individual investor, or is it owned by the gallery?
Oh, I see. So there are two kinds of gallery. First gallery, they deal with, actually our gallery is kind of like mixed. So first part we deal with the premier market. It means we work with the with the artist directly. So we will present the artist and we will curate a show for this artist. So the artworks actually belongs to the artist, and then we help them to sell. And secondly, we call it secondary market, which means we got the artworks from another owner, and then we may buy it and then we resell it. So it is called secondary market. So in our gallery, we deal with both.
In addition to storage costs, do people traditionally insure the paintings they bought in case your house burns down, or I'm just saying, in case something happens to the painting?
Yeah, so normally there's an insurance to cover those accidents in your home. So it is not so expensive. It just covers not only your art, but also everything in your home, like the accident insurance.
What if the painting was stolen or damaged? You had a dinner party and someone spilled something on it. I'm just wondering, is there insurance for that?
Yeah, there's also insurance for that, like AXA. They have a specialty insurance in art. But certain case, normally the owners of the artworks, they just have a general insurance about accidents. So like, for example, stolen or, a fire, and they don't really do a particular insurance on one certain work. But if that work was really expensive, for example, like the chicken cup, they will put in the, the safe in the bank. And then the safe in the bank, I think the storage fee is really low, maybe a few hundred. So normally they will put in a safe in the bank, or they will buy a special insurance for this certain piece if they want to show, in their home.
How much for let's say $1 million worth of arts as insurance, if I store it per month or per year?
Yeah, I really don't know, but because it has not occurred to me yet. Yeah.
Like, going back to the insurance question, how do they do the valuation? Because, say I have a painting, and like I bought it, like say for 500 Hong Kong, right? And then supposedly it went up, but I haven't wanted to sell it yet. So then, if I want to put the insurance on it, how much am I insured really? Like, I bought it, only cost 500 to buy it, right? But maybe now it's worth 5 million, but why would, who's going to tell the insurance company, how much?
Yeah, because the value is related with the fee of the insurance. So normally they will try to give you a good value. And you know, inside the auction, inside the insurance house, I know they have some expert. They can do the valuation. I know some people work in AXA, the art insurance, and they will have the expert, you know, give the valuation. And also they will outsource to the auction house like Christie or Sotheby's and ask for the valuation. And then maybe they get some number in the middle. And also they will discuss with the owner.
So if there's some argument or suspicion on if this piece is true copy or not, how can we verify this? We just talk to some expertise or go to some verification center or.
Yeah, for certain categories, they have this kind of center. For example, like a Jaded fake trade. There's many fake Jaded on the market as well. There is a center in TST. They do the special test and check the if it is real or fake. But other category, maybe especially Chinese paintings, is more difficult to tell. So even the auction house, sometimes they will have some fake ones. For example, like this time they have the 苏式功夫帖. There is a big argument on the authenticity of it. Normally they will go into several experts and generate their opinion and say, if more people stands for right or more people stands for false. So yeah, and then make some conclusion.
So, as you say, the investment, the auction house, when they set up a new category, special office of a new category, it seems to be a good indicator that this might be a trend for the coming years, right? So, do you categorize that news as an insider news? I mean, do you know it before the public?
Yeah, I know they are setting up this department like 1 year before they actually publish it because. My friend happened to become the head of that department. So I know that, yeah. So, but actually, even now it is not late because it is still a new department and it's also doing the first sale. So most of the public, they maybe even not pay attention to it yet. So I think that's why I believe in the future few years, this category still have a strong growth.
Are you allowed to invest in the categories of the artists that you recommend to others?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So in theory, you could tell us this is the new big thing. Go buy a couple pieces. We bid the price up.
I don't think I have certain big power, but if I know some of the very big art funds, they maybe have this kind of power. There is an art fund in the U.S. Their total value is more than 100 million US. I know they are investing in Tai Xiang Zhou's work, the ink artist which I was showing there, the 4-piece. That's why I was also recommending my clients to buy his work. It is a little bit like the stock. They are the market leaders. I just follow, and I try to get the trends, say what they are investment in. Yeah, if I have a, I don't think my power is now can be create certain strong trends, but maybe in the future. Yeah. So this is my journal introduction, and you can find my contact information here. And later, you have more questions?
Yeah, just one more question. So if I'm buying a painting from some artist in her maybe growing well way too mature age, it's not mature yet. For example, in her 20th, 30th, I bought 2 pieces, and later this artist decides, okay, I'm not going to paint it anymore. Before she gets famous. So what happens to, just from the pure investment perspective, what happens to the painting I already have?
It might be very good or very bad because if she already very famous and she's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was betting on her becoming famous.
Yeah, just chance that.
it depends, you know.
It really depends.
Yeah, because, for example, you know, some of the artists they wasn't really getting famous when they are alive. They are getting famous afterwards, like Chang Yu. You know, Chang Yu's work was, also break the record, recently for more than 18 million Hong Kong dollars in the Sotheby's auction. But he was, his life was very poor when he was was living. You know, his work more getting popular with the art market after he passed away. But you know, it depends. If this artist, her work is really good, and she has a maybe amount of her work, which I mean maybe several thousand of the work is already on the market. So if the price need to grow, the artist's work first need to be really good. Second, it should be have certain amount. It cannot be only have like 5 on the market, because no one would like to, if this grows more price, no one will try to lead the market or push the price. So if she is already a very good artist, and then she already have a few thousand works on the market, and then the market will still growing, because there's still more people want her work. And actually, it is good news that she stopped painting. But of course, there may be also bad, because maybe people don't want to push her market anymore, and then they start to lose interest, and then the price will just stay there. Yeah.
So is there any case you have an art collection and it's valued at a certain amount of money? Is there any chance, like without any damaging, any chance this the value of this artwork is going to decrease, drop? For example, I'm putting in like some like a very expensive painting, but any chance that will cause the value of the painting to drop? Is that possible?
Yeah. I mean, possible. For example, like Damien Hirst, he has a very famous work, is a shark. He catch a very big shark, and then he, sell it to Steve Cohen. Maybe you know him. He's the founder of SAC, the fund, and he is one of the top collector of contemporary art. And he sold to him for around 12 million US dollar. But after that, he produced another shark. Exactly the same, another shark. And then after that, he produced another shark. So totally, till now, he already produced 3 sharks. So at the time when he was produced the second shark, so Steve Cohen was really worried that his value will drop. So normally it should drop, but since Steve Cohen doesn't sell that work to anyone, so the value haven't dropped yet. Yeah. So and then the second shark is in a is still showing in a museum, and the third shark I think is still owned by another collector. And Damien Hirst still have another 2 sharks in his storage. So that it will be a risk that Steve Cohen's 12 million US dollar shark, the value will drop if he send out 2 more sharks on the market. Yeah. So it means if some artists they repeat very similar works exact the same. And also maybe don't have any change, then maybe the same. It's a very big shark that he catches from the sea, and yeah, and then actually it is already very expensive for him to buy the real shark, because it costs 1 million US already to buy it. Yeah, I think.
So he cut it into half.
Yeah. So the total art is like installation. He bought this shark, and then he put in the formalin, and then he cut the shark into 2, so horizontally. So you can go through in the middle of the shark, which you see the organs of it. Yeah. which I have been. It's a little bit scary, but I think it's quite smart artwork as well because he's the first person doing that.
Where is it? Where is it?
I saw that shark was in. When I saw it was in London, but Tate Modern. Yeah.
Still there?
Not sure. Travel exhibition.
But is there any legal procedures that can protect the art collectors, especially when they are trying to enter into such a kind of sales agreement, that to prevent the artist to reproduce another one piece in order to avoid the devaluation of the artwork?
Yes, you can have, if this collector is really important and he is buying a really important artwork of that artist, then they can have an agreement saying that you cannot produce a second work, and you must show my work in 5 different museums. So this Damien Hirst, he has another famous artwork which is a real skull, a head of a bone of a human, and then he put a lot of diamond on it. Yeah, and that piece is the only one. So I forgot how much they sold it. I think it was more than 36 million US. 36 million US. But the people who bought it is a group investor. It's not only one person. It's an investor group. And sometimes they have a agreement with Damien Hirst that you must show this work in several different museums for 2 years, and then you cannot produce the second one. So this happens. Okay. So we will do a little game and maybe like a test for investment. So I give you a little bit background about 2008. It's an interesting turning point because before 2008 the Chinese contemporary art is strongly growing, and then right after 2008 the Chinese contemporary art, especially Chinese oil paintings, have a going down, and so together with the economics problem. So and so imagine now we are in 2008. So and then you have 10,000 US to buy some of the art from here. So including different category. So you can say which one you like to choose, and then I will tell you how much it worth now. So the first one it is a 定窑 vase. It is called 玉壶春. It's normally to hold wine, and it is from Song Dynasty. And this is I talked before, an ink painting by Li Jing, a fan. And then Qianlong period, Qing Dynasty ceramics. So it is later than the first ceramic. And then this is the literati painting work I talked about. And this is the oil painting by young artists. So maybe just give some tests, see which work you will choose, and then I will tell you the value of it now.
Which one?
The literati.
The little rock.
The literati.
Because we were talking about, in such circumstances of this Western-dominated art collecting scene, for young contemporary Chinese artists to stand out and their work to really bidding for a higher price, their work need to have a very distinct signature. Judging from the current trend, like either it's Xu Bing or some artists like yeah, I think all their paintings, all their sculpture must have a very distinctive signature, so people can actually easily recognize it, and it's actually just like a big brand, to be easily recognizable, and that's how the Western world can easily to read it and to try to rebrand it to make it to a higher price in investment point of view. So that narrows our choices down to the two pieces. One is the ink painting, and another one is the paint of the young girl with a childhood scenario behind it. Because we thought, but first of all, we actually prefer on the contemporary pieces to the ancient ceramic pieces, because we assume the contemporary pieces will have a higher possibility to achieve the high percentage increasement in value. And then so we compare these two paintings, and we figure out that the ink painting actually have a very stronger signature and stronger identity of the contemporary Chinese identity. So that's why this is our final decision.
Thank you. Very clear high conviction call in group 2.
Our group of incredibly good-looking and intelligent art collectors have selected the first piece, the vase. We think the piece itself captures that quintessential Chinese ceramic culture. It's also a very practical piece in that the bottom holds the high-quality wine, while the thin, narrow drinking element of it encourages moderation. We came to the conclusion. We came to this conclusion with a two-step approach. First, we saw what we could eliminate. Unlike the other group, we chose to eliminate the final two pieces. The girl we eliminated because I'm aware that, at least as of this summer, it was still in the Edge Gallery, meaning it hasn't quite made the Sotheby's multi-million-dollar sale. And the other one, because Sotheby's is a, what's the name? The name that Sotheby's is setting up a division to sell that, which means in 2008 it was not big. Sotheby's is a big institution. If it was big, they would be on top of it in 2008. From there, we had three pieces. We chose the first one because we think, or we heard during the speech, that Chinese ceramics are taking off. And second, and more importantly, we are sure that the artist is already dead, and therefore will not be able to inflate the market, flood the market with more pieces.
Okay, so you're betting on the dead people. Group 3.
We're gonna choose this one, the second one, and the reason is most of us like this piece. That's the biggest factor. And secondly, we think they have the potential to grow. I think in terms of the return of investment, because maybe this form of art is not so popular at this moment, and maybe the price is not very, very high, so that after the financial tsunami, people would like to utilize the limited money to invest on some future products with future high return of investments. So maybe they're going to bet on the potentials. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
So we are totally speculating the presenters' attention towards this answer. So we simply do two things. First of all, we're going to make a vote of, we'll divide into two groups. The first group is 2 and 4, and then the rest of the other group. 100% vote for 2 and 4. And then I'm going to say, okay, between 2 and 4, which do you think have the most intention in the presentation? Then we think number 4 is. So we choose number 4.
Number 4 is the literati.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 3 answers. Group 1 is literati. Group 2, the ceramic wine bottle. Group 3 is the fan. Consensus call. Group 4 is literati as well.
So actually, all the pieces show here, if you buy in 2008, will be a good investment. The price will all grow quite a lot, at least maybe around 15%, 10 to 15% a year. But some of the pieces will say grows more. So I will maybe tell you by the order. So the top one will be this wine vase, because in the recent, just it happened in the so that group got the right answer, because just happened in around 2 years before. There is a new record set up for the Song ceramic 定窑 vase. It means that this kind of white color, Song ceramics. It is maybe you also know about this news. There was in New York Sotheby's. Someone say he bought a bowl for $3 US, and then he sent it to Sotheby's, and at that time was sold for 2.5 million US. So after that, the 定窑 and the Song ceramics fetch very high afterwards. So it was on a strong roll. So I think the order will be first, this, 定窑one bottle. So, but I don't normally recommend you to go into the collection of Chinese ceramics so soon, because there's a lot of fakes in the Chinese ceramics. So of course it is a high return, but also have a high risk, because in this field you do need a very strong expertise to know what is real, the good ones, and what is a real and a fake. So this is a good return, but have a high risk.
How much is this stuff?
I think actually this will be in an auction in May, and the valuation is around 250,000 to 350,000 around. So
How much dollars?
Hong Kong dollar. But it's the valuation. I mean, normally the market price should be higher than there, because the auction house, they always start the valuation with a low, to draw more interest. And then I think the market price of this piece should be around 380,000 Hong Kong dollar.
So that is how many thousand? So it was in 2008, it was 10,000 US dollars.
Maybe like four times. Yeah. So the second is the literary paintings. The Scholar's Rock. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is the second one. Like what I mentioned, the literary painting do have a strong growth in the past 5 years. And Tai Xiangzhou, actually his work was first came into the market around 2008, 2009. So I mean, this piece, the market price actually is very close. I think very close to the first piece. The market price of this piece is around 35,000 US. So maybe very close to the first piece. Yeah.
In 2008, how much is
Also around 10,000.
every piece is around?
Yeah.
Actually, we are close.
Yeah, very close. So actually, the first one and the second one is really close.
But we have lower
Lower risk.
We have lower risk.
So in this field have a lower risk because this artist every year he produces not more than 40 pieces, and so the number is limited. And then he is a living artist, so there is all his paintings on the market is a real work. There's no fix. Now he's in his late 40s. It's around 48. Yeah. It's he's in his golden period, and it's in the growing time. I think in his late 40s to his late 50s will be very important for his art life. Yes. The third will be this one, also ink painting, because it is also this linked with the market trends related with Chinese contemporary ink. But this is that piece I need to mention. It is bigger. I forgot to mention the size. The rock piece is about 1.5 meter high, so it is like a middle to bigger size work of the artist. So it is like one of the good work and the important work of him. So that's why I recommend. And this one is really good as well, but it's a fan, a smaller work, and which maybe this artist draw it for, maybe he can finish this work within 1 day or maybe 2 days. So that bigger rock, I think at least this artist need to work maybe, maybe 2 weeks to maybe 3 weeks to finish that work. So time-wise, that work, need more time-consuming. And but this artist, his work is which we call present a life of leisure, a feeling of leisure. So when you look at his work, you feel very relaxed and enjoy, or you feel very fun. So this is a very unique feeling of his art. So a certain group of important collectors is also very following him. So that's why his price also have a strong growth. I think maybe this one you can buy around now 25,000. Yeah.
25,000
US, or in US dollar. So and then is this piece is a Qing Dynasty ceramics. This piece it is the Song ceramics is very much taking off in the recent 3 years, but the Qing Dynasty ceramics they already been grow very strongly and reached very high in 2008. So after that, they are a little bit going down, and all this slowing the growth. So that's why this piece, the growth is slower than the first ceramic. So at that time, I was saying that around 2008, that is a peak time for Chinese oil paintings. So actually, if you buy at that top part, you really, it's very difficult to make money. The market is the market was going down after 2008 for Chinese contemporary oil painting, but it started to getting back from end of last year and this year. So this young artist, her work, actually this is not a very suitable case because this work she was painted in 2003, not in 2008. So, but around 2008, her work is also not so expensive, but she is still in the growing period. So she doesn't really affected to the financial crisis because she was not grown that big in 2008 yet. So generally speaking, her price was very smoothly growing, maybe every year around 10 to 15%. If she can have some important show or important auction record, her price maybe will have a strong growth.
Thank you everyone for joining us today, and feel free to stay behind to further discuss with Vivi, like contacts and free advice. Also, like if you have paintings, you can ask her the valuation. And we also booked a restaurant, so we always do in Just Us. So if you want to have dinner with Vivi for an in-depth discussion, and you're welcome to join. Thank you.